I'm just saying, if you don't have your best player, and Rodon's only pitched twice, then it's going to be tricky to be in the mix. But you're only 2 games out. Judge is going to be back hopefully next couple weeks if Rodon pitches. Cortez back in August. I don't think it's as doom and gloom maybe as some Yankees fans.
I don't, and I've always said those Yankee pinstripes, they weigh a little bit more than the other uniforms. They're a little bit heavier, and that's the expectation. But you look at a team, they're 50-44.
Right.
Without their best player, with a ton of injuries, you look at Rodon banged up, you look at the outfield being banged up, Stanton has been hurt. And they're still right there in the mix. Unfortunately, they play in the best division in baseball. If they were in any other division, we'll be praising the Yankees, talking about how good they are. But because their injuries, they've been a little banged up. I do think they could really use a corner outfielder. I think we've said it before. Bellinger's name keeps being out there. I think he's a guy looking healthy, getting him back as well. But for me, the biggest thing that they need is health. They need guys to get back on the field. I think if they were healthy, we would have a much better feel of where they really are. But right now, still being afloat, not all the way healthy, I think you have to be optimistic. And maybe that's me. I'm notoriously optimistic. But you look at where they are in this division.
Yeah.
They get Judge back. We saw the type of catalyst he can be and how he can spark a team. And that's contagious. Good baseball contagious. Having your leader back in that clubhouse, back in the lineup, is contagious. So getting him back, I think will do be a huge lift for the Yankees. I think health is the biggest thing for them, as well as going to get that corner outfielder.
Man, it's so much, when you look at not having Judge and then trying to get Stanton rolling. But they have a slew of guys that's struggling. And I know one thing you can't do, and you know this, you can't just throw anybody out in the outfield. You can't just throw any guy out in the position and hope for the best. And then we all know about that ball finder. It's going to find you, right? It's going to find you in situations where you need W's. You can't lose series against bad teams. They know that. I mean, it is baseball, and Booney is absolutely right. You can lose to the worst teams in the game. In our sport, it happens. But you have to know sense of urgency without your star. You have to, finish games that you are leading late and so on and so forth. Their bullpen has been not a problem. So if you're talking about Belly, cool, then make the move. Like when you look at Texas, they needed a guy like Chapman. They made the move. They didn't wait till, the August 1st. Yeah. So I believe if there's anything you can do right now to change the whole landscape and give our boy Sean Casey a present,
let's go, Casey.
Go get him.
Absolutely.
Go get the guy. Go overwhelm the Cubs and take Belly.
Bellinger and Grich, a couple guys right now.
There it is. And
they're definitely in the mix. So, I think that's kind of the ideal trade bait right now is, as you said, Bellinger or Grichuk, Kim. You plotted all these guys. That's what they do with the Yankees. They're going to make moves.
Yeah, my only thing, even with a guy like Grichuk, injury history. It seems to be something in the water. I want to go get guys that I feel like are going to be on the field. To me right now, like Cliff said, Belly looks the healthiest. He looks the most ready. He looks like the guy that can really, really do something different for your lineup. And again, talk about a backstop, Salvi Perez as well. He could slide right in there as far as the catcher spot. I love Kyle Higashioka. But, he's a backup catcher. You need to go get this guy right here. You stick him in that lineup. You get Stanton back. You get Judge back. Now, all of a sudden, you're talking about some real big sticks in that lineup. And what this guy can do, OPS, you know what? If they don't want him, send him on down to South Florida, Cliff.
Yeah, I agree with that, too. They need some help. And I got Paul Goldschmidt going down to Miami. I just like that, right? When you think about, what he brings to the table. I had not seen the Cardinals team play this bad in a long time. Yep. They're typically not sellers at the deadline because they're never in this situation. But when you have a guy that's raking like Paul Goldschmidt and the Marlins, in my opinion, is sitting there with that window open, right? You haven't had your best from your reigning Cy Young winner, Sandy Alcantara. Yo, look at the Marlins first basemen. And look what Goldie's doing. And when I say that is no disrespect to the Marlins first basemen, it is not their fault. When you look around this league, when you look around that team, they've done it as a whole, winning. They've done it as a whole, doing little things right, getting guys in from third base, guys getting opportunities like Myers to play center field, his only 8th game in center with Jazz out, making that transition. Having a rise around has sort of helped these dudes figure out who they are, figure out their identity, and not try to be Superman. So, Goldie down South Beach makes a lot of sense.
Veteran leader,
if you want to stay in this thing.